Good day. How are you? Amazing. Wow, it's been a minute. The last time I spoke on this podcast was November 21, so coming on a year. Today I had a moment of breathing and a moment of silence and a moment of rejuvenation of my soul and a reflection that took about a year to manifest itself. So, what brings me here today? Well, I wanted to touch base. A lot has happened, and a lot continues to happen. So, today actually marks a big, giant milestone in my life. 20 years ago, on September 17th, me and my boyfriend decided to tie the knot and go to City Hall and get our paperwork. And we did. We did it. And then on the 19th was the day that we looked in each other's eyes and we said to each other that we love one another and that we want to be together forever. For me, forever notion is a hard notion to grab. It's just always been that way because no one ever stays in my life for a long time. And usually I keep the door open where I meet people, I greet people, I love people, I let them into my soul, and we go our different ways, but I stay connected. Well, tomorrow marks 20 years that we've been married because on the 20th of September we tied the knot at the civil court in Brooklyn. And so tomorrow makes 20 years that I've been married to my husband. I must say, when we got married, I was a young lady, a young girl. And when I meet people now that are in this age range, I tell them, I say, live your life, chase every rainbow, buy those shoes you want, get that bag you've always desired, travel the world, live, get those degrees, and then make these decisions. And even though I tell this to people and I motivate them and I coach them and I consult them on that level for myself, if I could go back and do it all again, I would do the exact same thing because I love this person so much. He has been the foundation in my soul and my heart. He has a very funny personality or interesting personality. Not funny, haha, funny, very different. He's very humble and he's very modest. And if you know me, I am neither. I am the most non-humble, non-modest person. Who did that? I did that. Me. And because I was raised that if you don't share and shine your accolades, nobody will know. So for my husband, he's very modest and very humble. Humble to an extent where taking credit almost pains him. And the other part of that is he's very kind and very generous. And the generosity for him it's shocking, his generosity. But with the wife that has the gift for gab, he's also very silent. And when people first meet him, sometimes they are fearful. They're like, yo, is he angry at me? But he's not. He's just a silent, strong foundation. But he's more than that. In the light of COVID, we learned he was a baker, he's an artist, he's a craftsman, a woodworker, a carpenter, a musician, and an ordained minister. He has become the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, and the thinker for the undertaker. He is everything and anything. He has been and become and created a slightly new identity and skill set. He has this foundation that he does, but all this came out of this self-reflection period. This actual podcast was birthed in a self-reflection period of COVID, and now we are post-pandemic. And although one of the most opening factors that connected the majority of people, the common denominator, you may say, of COVID was the fact that when you felt at your darkest and when you felt your loneliness, there was millions of other people going through the same thing. So in that perspective, you weren't alone. So you were able to pick it up, keep it moving, dust yourself off, and recalibrate. So that is the birth of this podcast, that area. And then when life began to seem normal again, then life was normal again. For us, a lot of things changed. We moved out of New Jersey. We sold our home, our dream home. And when I tell you, my dream home, it's gone. And we moved to Florida. When we moved to Florida, I put my sons in school, and I noticed the school system was completely different than what I was used to. And I don't know if I want to say I didn't like it, but it made me nervous in their school system. So, I had to really pay attention to these things closely. After that, paying attention, I decided, you know what, and I spoke about this in the last podcast, that I'm going to get back into education. And the reason why I say back into is, folks, if you know me, I retired in 2017 from my dream career job and then became a business consultant, which I was pretty much doing business consultations for the past 12 years, 10 years. And, then after working as a business consultant, I did do some work for a specific company, which wasn't so fragrant. And then I started doing business consultations on my own solely, which I really love and enjoy because, I have clients that love me to death and I love them to death. And they don't care if I go to the moon and back. They are not going with anyone else. And although I've tried to say, I'm not in New York anymore, maybe it's more with fidelity for your wallet, maybe it's just a better decision to switch. But no, they insist. So I get a lot of heavy calls still. And, I always leave that door open if anyone needs a consultation for anything payroll, HR, business practices, best practices, SOPs, taxes, even training and development in many vast areas. I'm always available at a reasonable, decent price, but I don't like to always get into those details. This is more of a way of, this is therapy for me, right? So then I decided, what I'm going to do? I'm going to teach. If I teach at a school that has K to 12, then my kids could be at my school and I could just keep an eye on them and then make sure they get what they need. Basically my perspective and what I decided to do. So I saw a couple of schools and there was one in an area that I really liked because where we were living was so far and that area was nicer to where we like to do things. So I chose that school, I applied, and they took me. And the funny thing for me is, if you know me and my lifestyle, is it a rags to riches? Yeah, it is. I went through a lot, and there's nothing I need. Like, I can't walk around saying, I need this. I have everything I need. When I tell you there was an age where I was hungry and starving, I'm full. My plate is full. I have so much on my plate. I put in the refrigerator as leftovers. Our bills are paid, our life is happy, and the expectations I have on life is just to see my children and watch them grow and be happy. And it's dreams that I've had, that I've created, that I've finally got to enjoy. So working as a teacher wasn't really anything but to be with my sons. And being a teacher changed my soul. I can't tell you. Working in education, just put it this way. I've been doing training and development for 2 decades, ranging from ages 4 to 40 have been all the people that I've worked with. And being a licensed educator in Florida was a brand new experience because it's quite different than what I was used to in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and the North. And it's very interesting. Even the policies are interesting. And seeing my kids' development was interesting. But then I got to meet so many beautiful faces and learn who they are and their stories. And I tell you, changing my heart, hands down, was the best professional experience I've ever had. Just from, I always have a dear heart for my UFT, but this was just something very special. So on the end of that year, I was promoted, and now I'm still at that location, very happy with my children in a different perspective. And now I got to change my growth mindset and my own prescribed philosophies and methods, because I have to adapt. And this right now is not a learning struggle or a learning challenge. This is understanding other people's dynamic. So this is interesting, a different perspective. But anyway, so with that said, that kind of happened this whole year. But the foundation, back to my husband, he's just incredible. I don't know how else I can explain it. He just is. And he is just he's my best friend. And I hate saying that. If you know me very well, I don't like saying friends. I don't like saying it. Me and my sister, we go back and forth with the best friends because, she's my sister and there's no other sister I have like that. So therefore, she's unique in her own identity. Friends, I think it's hard sometimes with friends. And my husband, he is my soulmate. And I really just want to take this moment to just speak on relationships in general. So my husband one time in joking said, made a comment, not that I was stupid, but made a comment like that. And I said to him, no, I'm annoying. And, you're the one that asked me to marry you. So therefore, the level of intelligence on you, right? But having someone in your life is not always easy. And people sometimes tend to look at our lives and believe that everything is easy. Oh, you have such an easy life. When you're in a relationship, and this can be taken in business and in friendship and in love, it's a give and take. It's a partnership. You cannot have it all without having an idea that you'll have to give in order to get. It's an investment with equities that are unimaginable. So, for example, we're married 20 years. Do we fight? Do we argue? Sure. But at the end of the day, we always see eye to eye, because at the end of the day, we have the same perspective and we understand what our goals are and their sacrifices. But with that said, is it worth it? Oh man, it is. It is. And when I see people that get married and then break up, get remarried, and all these things, I always wonder what happened. What happened in that foundation? Because before you make these decisions, this is the thing. This is what we always say. When you make a agreement, a partnership, a contract, you pay for a service is paid for. It's one hand for the other hand and one hand for that hand. When you have a contract, it is until it expires. And some contracts are lifelong, like a marriage. I feel that when you get into these contracts, these deals, you don't just go into it blind. When my husband and I first met, I was 18 years old, and I was hanging out with my sister and some friends, and we went to a boat club that was circling New York City. And what was so interesting was we were having a great time, just a fun time. When we left, a friend of mine was like, oh, my cousin's gonna come pick us up. We have to go to this club, Club Fantasia at the time, to meet him. So we go over there, and then I see this guy. Wow, beautiful eyes. The first thing I saw was his eyes, his eyelashes, his smile, so beautiful, so bright. His energy was like, I've never seen energy like that, because I met so many people that they're so boisterous. He was so humble. I was like, wow, there's this guy. He had strong shoulders. He had such a nice face. His profile was very stunning, and he reminded me of just a strong, I don't know, internally strong. I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys, but internally strong person. And I couldn't believe how beautiful he was. And then we get in the car. He's gonna drive us home. And I keep looking in the mirror because I'm in the back, and I see his eyes. I was like, wow, he has such beautiful eyelashes. It blew me away. Couldn't believe his eyelashes were that beautiful. Like, you know how girls wear like the press-on eyelashes? Naturally beautiful eyelashes. It was shocking. So then we get home, drives us home, and we leave. And he sees my mom. She's sitting on the porch. And then I don't see him for like 4 years. And in the search, I constantly ask, hey, where is he? Does anybody know what happened to him? And everybody's like, no. Or he's in a different country. And finally, one day, my friend's mom calls me. She's like, come to the house. So-and-so's here. And I remember me and my cousin, we ran over there. And when I saw him, I didn't even recognize him. It was the funniest thing. But the next day, we went on a date. It was me and him. And he told me that the last 4 years of his life was so painful. And I was like, why? And he said, when I saw you, I kept driving to your house and you were not there no more. And I didn't know what happened to you. I didn't get your information. And he's like, for the last 4 years, I drive around trying to find you. And I couldn't believe that. That blew me away. Because now we were both 22. And then we kept going on these dates. Every day we were going on a different date. The next day, another date. He would pick me up, another date. He would go to my job. He'd be outside. Hey, you want to go eat? You want to go here? You want to go there? And we would just always be together after this point. So April 17th was that first date. And we just stood together every day. No matter what, just stood together. Well, then, one day, after 6 months of just being together every day, he would always say, what are you doing tomorrow? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, all right, we'll hang out. One day he said, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? And I was like, I guess hanging out with you. And he was like, but what are you doing for the rest of your life? And I was like, I don't know. And he was like, well, why don't we just get married and stay together forever? And I was like, okay, let's do it. 6 months of being together, and we knew. And then we were married for 6 years and had no children. We had one loss, but we had no children. And in that time, we learned everything about each other. Anything about each other. We traveled each other's lives. We visited places that we both spoke about and shared about in our stories. And we learned each other to a point where there is nothing about me that he doesn't know and nothing about him that I don't know. And then we had our first child, which was a blessing upon itself. And then 2 more. So now we have 3 sons. And it has been, again, just an amazing life with this person. The thing about this life is my mom passed away, right? I mentioned this before, when I was 20. I knew my mom for 20 years. And that hurts so much. Even just now talking about it, there's a pain inside my soul that will never heal. And then I lost my father in 2017. And he never healed from losing his wife, my mom. My mom died at 47. My father, oof, too much to think about. So, at this point in my life, 42, and I can't bear the thought of ever losing him. I've been with him half my life. A little change. And something about our foundation has been able to withhold anything. And me and him know, like, we'll have nothing in our pocket that day, but we'll be plentiful. And this is a thought that, it's funny, like, some people, they're always chasing the next big thing, but we don't. It's not how we think. And one day, when you finally have all your dreams come true, you're gonna look to the left and to the right, and then look who is there for you, and are you complete? Because, like, I always had a dream, like, oh, one day I'm gonna drive a car. Got my license when I was 37. I was like, one day I'm gonna drive a car. I drove a car. One day I'm gonna own a condo. Owned a condo. One day I'm gonna buy a house. Bought a house. One day I'm gonna travel the world. Travel the world. One day, you know, you make all these goals. When I grow up, I want to do this, that, and the third. Did it. Done. Check mark. Something about that. Because there comes a point where you've done so much that now, like I tell you, when I get home and it's around 7:30, I cannot wait to fall asleep. Is that crazy? I'm like, all right, everybody, good night, I'm going to sleep. What? The day's still going. Yeah. But I can't wait to just lie in my bed and just really be thankful. I think that is what our relationship is. My relationship with my husband is that warm blanket that surrounds me, the feeling of safety, the feeling of happiness, the feeling of comfort, the feeling of challenge, because there are challenges there, learning, security, overwhelmingly happy, loving so much inside my soul. And feeling like I can never lose this love. I would never want to lose this love. It's so painful. So happy, so feeling amazing, but so painful and fearful. Oh, if this love was ever lost, it would be such a hardship on my soul. Because I've lost hard loves. My mother's love, my grandparents, family members. You know, those hardships, you learn what that feeling is, and then you understand two things. Time is so precious, and love is so valuable. So, with this little podcast today, I want you to take away one thing. Don't forget to, when you're in these moments, just to love. It's so easy to hate, it's so easy to be, offended. But when you love someone, it feels good inside your soul. It really does. Trust me, I'm telling you. And I always like to tell people I love them so much. Because, you ever meet that person, you don't like them, but you love them. You love them, right? So I say that because the gift of God is, and the joy of my soul is to always love everyone. Because to love you and accept you for who you are is an easy task that was rewarded to me by the sweet blessings. Right? Yeah, I know people are like, I don't love everybody. All right, that's okay. That's okay. I'll still love you. And on that note, thank you again for joining me on another journey of fantastic life. It's been a minute, but I'll see you soon. And I love you. Hey, happy anniversary to me and my husband. All right, now, take care. Bye-bye.